me to be here on the occasion of the Motilal Oswal Wealth Creation Study. It's a 30th edition. It's a milestone. And we're all gathered here to sort of, discuss the takeaways, the insights. I mean, the Wealth Creation Studies have really become a sort of landmark document which we look forward to every year. It kind of documents the journey of compounding, the journey of markets, but also, of course, highlights one theme every year. And the theme this year, of course, is the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, as Raamdeo ji said. I'm not sure if Raamdeo ji chose the topic deliberately, given the slightly downbeat mood that we are in. So kind of sort of, to enthuse all of us and to remember that, 1 year does not make, does not make or break investing records, and one should have a longer-term time frame here. What I thought we will do is, I think Raamdeo ji, of course, has made a detailed presentation on the Wealth Creation Study. I urge all our viewers on CNBC, who is watching us on television and, of course, watching us on YouTube as well, to grab a copy of the Wealth Creation Study and read it. But I have with me Raamdeo Agrawal ji, Ramesh Damani, of course, is with us as well, needs no introduction, and Mr. Sunil Matani as well. What I thought we will do is we will ask each of the three to run us through their own investing journeys, how they found compounding stocks over their 30, 40 years of investing experience, how they held on to it, mistakes, as they say, mistakes they made along the way, what they shouldn't have sold, what they should have sold, etc., etc. I thought we could look at this investing, this document, the Wealth Creation Study, through the lens of the three gentlemen who are with us here. So with that short preamble, let me get straight into it. Raamdeo ji, let me start with you, sir. In your document, in the Wealth Creation Study, you say that you analyzed 500 stocks. Yeah. And there were only 7% of that 500 stocks over the period that you analyzed, what you describe as the next trillion-dollar era, right? And that's a long period of time, which compounded at 23%. You moved early. You had a portfolio of 225 odd stocks back in the day to a concentrated 15-stock portfolio, which kind of changed your investing life. So I wanted you, so you got onto this idea early. You're putting this in the Wealth Creation Study now, but you got onto this idea, long back. So talk to us a little bit about that. What triggered that transition?
Yeah. So as I said, I was a very voracious stock buyer right from 85, 84, whenever I got little money. But till 94, because of these bad deliveries, one of the problems was, of course, we were buying 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, but there were a lot of bad deliveries, and we are in broking business, institutional business. So a lot of these companies, my shares will be given to the institution, and bad delivery will come to me. Like that, we ended up making like 225 companies in our portfolio, finally. And then I read Buffett. That was the biggest impact. They talked about focused portfolios, because you should not have too many companies which you cannot understand, not take care of them. So they said 15 to 20 companies good. So I took help of my wife in 95, and I said, please help me bring it down to 15 or 20 companies. And she would methodically every day sell 10, 15 companies. And in a year's time, it took 1.5 years, 2 years to bring it down to 15, 20 companies. And that very year, the portfolio doubled. And then since then, the journey has been few companies and very chunky allocation, 4, 5, 10%. I typically don't want to buy less than 2.5% of my total portfolio. Like even now, if it is a 5,000 crore portfolio, I would like to buy minimum, 2%, 3% of the portfolio in every stock, because otherwise it will not make an impact. So, and then want to sit long. So that's a whole thought process. But it started in 95, 96.
It's almost impossible now, sitting here in 2025, that there was a period of time when Buffett was not as well known as he is now, right? But as you say, you learned about Buffett in 95, about his principles and concentration of portfolio, and that prompted you to whittle down the portfolio to this concentrated stock.
Yeah, so in 94, Sanjay, I keep telling him always. So Sanjay told me, why don't you just read this guy's annual report? He sounds a little different. That's how he told. He gave me one copy of the report. There was no all the copies. He gave me one copy of the report. We read. We figured out it looks very different than what we know. I think by reading the one report, I realized that we don't know anything of investing. And then we found all the 20, 25 reports, got Xeroxed, and then we read the whole thing, and that changed the life. So now with the internet, blogs, all kinds of gurus are there all over the world, and you can get them on tap. So, and now books are available digitally free of cost. So it all depends on how much curiosity you have, how much you want to learn, and there is no dearth of ज्ञान. ज्ञान की गंगा बहुत जबरदस्त बह रही है.
कभी-कभी बाढ़ आ जाती है, but it is important and it's interesting. So three names I want you to reflect on: Hero Honda, Hero Motorcorp now, of course, Infosys, Eicher. These are your three iconic multi-baggers. What common early signals did you see across them? If you can kind of piece a thread to it.
Yeah, so my style of investing was always buy high growth, high quality, high growth at a very low price. Very early in stage, but peg one or half peg. Half peg is my, like if something is growing at 25%, I want to buy it not more than 25p. Preferably 15, 17. I mean, now these P multiples have gone 60, 70. These are new things. I mean, I wanted to buy Asian Paints. Always I liked the Asian Paint. But when I wanted to pay 15, it was 20. So I didn't buy. When I wanted to pay 20, it became 25. And then finally, once I agreed to buy at 23, and again, my dear friend, he said, let's wait for some more time, and it went to 90. So I never made a single penny out of that. So, once you identified a stock, you understand the company, that these companies are going to grow and they're going to create wealth, then you have to buy at reasonable price. I have never negotiated on buying at reasonable price. That is the first thing which I do, and the quality of business to be good. Because of Buffett, quality investing, I always looked at franchises, high ROE. First thing is look at high ROE. Does the company earn not even 15, 20, 25% return on equity? That's my first criteria. Second is, does it have good terms of trade? Like, say, can he connect his money in 30 days? The datas are not more than, if you have a 25% ROE, but 100, 120 days, God knows what you are writing. So these are the few things I see, and once that is there, then we try to go and figure out from the company what magic he is doing that he can keep earning 25% ROE in his business for not only now, but over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And then we go and buy the company. If we like the company, then I buy the company. The only thing was, once the company goes from, say, 100 to 300, 400, that time some other ideas come because money was limited. So, you would sell that and buy something else. I remember one compounder I bought, that was BKT Tire, Balkrishna Tire. Today it is a very famous company, very large company, but when I bought it, it was a 100 crore company. And I bought it 1p with a 40%, 30% ROE. And there was no taker. I went to the company refused, we don't want to meet you. And then next day, through somebody I went, I met them. They not only offered me Rasgulla, and they told me the whole story. Then we bought. The stock went from 100 to 1200 in 2 years. We sold everything. Today it is 50,000 crores. It is one of the best compounders. But the issue is that, do you understand power of compounding? What can happen? So I think we were kid or whatever. I mean, we didn't, but there are a lot of stories, and many more stories are going to happen. That is a beauty of this market.
Absolutely. Mr. Damani, you've spoken about publicly as well, about being early into Infosys, buying Infosys early. Can you tell us what was the thinking then, and what signs could you see that this is going to be a big compounder for you from the time that you bought it?
I didn't know that. I was lucky, Prashant. Thank you so much for hosting me, and thank you, Raamdeo ji. What a lovely study there. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause again. I really enjoyed this study. I think it's probably one of his best studies that I've seen so far. I think I came, Prashant, when the cement boom was going on in India in the 90s. And even my jobber knew the price of cement in Raipur and Bhopal and Coimbatore, and I didn't. And I was an MBA from America, so it was pretty embarrassing for me. But luckily, I used to work in the technology industry in America, so I understood technology in India. And most people in India want plant and machinery and, fixed asset base. I understood intellectual property, understood the value arbitrage. So we happened to buy a little bit of Infosys at that time, and that turned out good. I think the journey of compounding started a bit later than that. That was my first lucky foray, which made me a lot of money. But I think the understanding came much later. But to add to a point, when were you introduced to Buffett? I always find that very fascinating because you all are Buffett fans. Raamdeo said 95. In 1977, I went as an MBA student to America to study from MBA. I'm actually old guy, so I went in 1977. And most people going to Los Angeles in those years would tell the local host, take me to Disneyland, take me to Hollywood Walk of Fame, take me to, the tech industry, whatever. I remember telling my sister to drive me to the See's Candy store. There was one See's Candy store in that area, and there was one Walmart in that area at that time in 77. So obviously I'd heard about Buffett. I don't know how, but even when I was 20 years old, I'd heard about Buffett. But it took me until maybe 85, 87 to kind of understand that this guy was actually something extraordinary that he was doing.
This is 77 when you kind of...
1977,
wow.
Yes.
And he kind of migrated away from what he used to call cigar butt approach to kind of buying high quality stuff?
Yeah,
that had already happened. I mean,
no, it happened much later. He bought Cap Cities in 1985.
Right.
And I know some uncles that bought Berkshire Hathaway stock, and they told me they bought Berkshire Hathaway. But in the 87 crash, they had sold it.
Right.
And then they were very happy because it had gone down from $3,000 to $2,500. And today, of course, it's some other number, so let's not discuss that pain. But I want to make this point and ask you and the rest of the audience. When I was a student in America, the price of Berkshire in 1977, I checked it afterwards, it was $75 a share. So 1,000 shares would have cost me $75,000 to buy in 1977. Can anyone tell me what that investment of $77,000 in 1977, $75,000, is worth today? And please don't use your smartphones. Just raise your hand. What do you think
or
it's worth
ChatGPT. No.
No, don't put ChatGPT on it. Just anyone raise your hands and tell me that if I had made $75,000 investment in Berkshire and gone and sat at the beach, played the craps table in rural in Las Vegas, or bummed around the world, what would I be worth today? Yeah, you know you're a cheater. He knows, of course. He's a Buffettite too. See, the fact of the matter is that the stock is at $750,000, and that $75,000 has become 750 million USD. 750 million USD. That's about 250 million short of $1 billion for doing nothing. That's the power of compounding. But there's a corollary to that the longevity of the compounding is what makes you money. So while Buffett's stock has gone up by 20% compounded for 45 years, the 45 years of compounding has made it into 750 million.
Mr. Damani, when did you finally grasp this idea about compounding and the power of it? Was it?
As surprisingly, his and mine journey have been the same. As Chandrakant Sampath explained to him compounding, he explained to me. Imagine a guy who probably didn't pass college in India, explaining to MBAs and owner Motilal Oswal what compounding is and what it does. He used to come to my office and he'd like to have a cup of coffee, and I would give him a cup of coffee. Then he'd explain to me how this company will compound, how Lever will compound, how Colgate will compound. And it seemed bizarre to me. He would tell me that, and he would tell me, Ramesh, you're very young. Avoid depreciating assets, buy appreciating assets. I never kind of understood that till many years later. So it was a slow burn, if you will. I wish I had learned it at 77. I didn't. But probably around the same time, Raamdeo kind of understood Buffett. I started understanding Buffett.
Mr. Damani, let me ask you this. It's a much abused word, but multi-bagger, great compounder, in your career, best captures the power of it staying invested through cycles?
There are a lot of stocks. India has given us such a great opportunity. Sometimes I feel like hitting fish in a barrel because there's so many multi-baggers and compounders. It's actually unbelievable how many multi-baggers you got. But the one that I think that people don't know and I think they should study, in fact, I would urge Raamdeo to do a special study on that because it's created that kind of wealth, is a company we bought in 96, 97 called Bharat Electronics. I bought it after it IPO'd at $40. It went to $20. At $40, it had a 5% yield. At $40, it had a 5% yield out there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you bought 100 shares, I think they're worth 25,000 shares today by splits, bonuses, whatever. And for 400 rupee price, that's about 1 crore worth of investment. It's about 28-30% compounded over long periods of time. And to address a more fundamental question, Prashant, people often say, oh, gold has been in the Sensex and all this kind of nonsense I keep hearing from people. Now, here's the fact of the matter, that when you buy a securitized asset, as Raamdeo has pointed on the study, not only do you get the splits and bonuses, but you also get dividends. So if you had bought an ounce of gold in 1980 at $1,000, today it's $4,000. All you got is the price appreciation in the gold. if you bought Bharat Electronics or HDFC Bank or Reddy's or Apollo Tyres or whichever stock there, the splits bonuses would have increased your value dramatically. The P ratio would have inflated your wealth. And the dividends would have added extra 2-3 percentage points of return. So I think people conveniently tend to forget that. I think over 150 years, I think gold's given 3%, equity is given 11-12% without dividends. So you know where you should put your money.
No, absolutely. And I think that's very, very well put. Mr. Matani, you're a Buffett fan, and but you're also a US market investor, right? I mean, you've been investing for a long time. Right. What were the first true compounders you owned, and what made you trust them early in that sense?
So let me back up a bit. Is it okay?
Will you speak into it, sir? Maybe, or...
They'll control. You speak.
Is the mic on?
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, just backing up. So I went to the US in the early 80s and first heard about Buffett in the mid-80s. Raamdeo, I think you said 95? So I had a big lead over him. In 1987, there was a book that came out called The Midas Touch, which is the first biography. And when I read that, I was completely hooked. And the first time I went to Omaha for a Berkshire meeting was in 1994.
Wow.
And I met Raamdeo soon after that. And I think 1999 is when he first went. And I've been going there with him every year since. I follow him to carry his suitcases. But so I discovered Buffett before he did. And I went to a Berkshire meeting before he did. Somehow he's become a multi-billionaire. And I'm still sitting here. So there's, obviously something off here. But the learnings have become very clear over time as to what the approach is. One of the things that Buffett repeats almost every year is the confidence he has in America. And he says he'd always bet on America, he'd never bet against it. I think that if he was sitting here today, seeing what Raamdeo has been talking about and understanding the facts, he would probably be betting on India. And I think that's it's a great place to be right now, because the US's best days, I think, are behind it. It'll still grow, it'll still do fine, but not the way India will. So then I'd like to ask Raamdeo a question about his study, if I may. So, Raamdeo, you talk about the wealth creation, and you talk about the movement to paper assets and securitization. But that's not really what wealth creation is about, in my view, in the sense that you had in the report, I think, a number which said that the market cap of all the securities in the world is about 147 trillion today, right?
No, not now. In 2001, it was about 123 trillion. This is only market cap.
Only market?
Yeah. So today it is about 141 trillion. Global market cap. 140.
Yeah, I saw 147.
170. Yeah, something.
In any
like
case, if tomorrow,
yeah,
everything goes up 10%.
Okay.
Has 15 trillion of wealth really been created? Because the wealth creation...
That's how it is created.
Yeah, but that's on paper, right? Because if the next day it goes down 10%, has the wealth been destroyed?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you are calculating your wealth on a 24-hour basis, that's what is happening.
Right, but the way wealth is really created is by stuff happening at the micro level, right? I mean, an easy example is productivity on a farm. Yeah. If a farmer is making 1 lakh rupees of crop every year from his land, and you can show him more productive ways to do it, so that it becomes 5 lakhs a year, that's wealth creation.
Yeah.
If a company grows,
yeah,
that's wealth creation. So the things that have happened here is one big thing has been access to capital for entrepreneurs, right? It's much easier now for someone with a good idea to get the capital and to start a company and to employ people and to create new products.
But from where this capital is coming? It's coming from the wealth.
No, that's right. It's coming from savings, etc.
Yeah.
But how is additional wealth created?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Look at, don't go very far. Look at Motilal Oswal. Motilal Oswal, my net worth is about 12,000 crores. Okay, that's lying in the business. It's busy with all kinds of working capital, this, that. But my market cap is 60,000 crores or 50,000 crores. Today, I want to donate 1,000 crores worth of for a hospital. Can I take it from the till, or will it do it from the market cap? I will do it from the market cap.
Right.
And the moment you spend, say, 2% of that for building a hospital, now the economic engine starts. Because the company is working without any problem. But this 2% is going and creating a hospital. It is creating jobs for hundreds. That's how America became rich. That is the power of securitization. See, securitization is a machine of foreseeing the future profits and the present value of that. See, if I am not capitalized, there is no question of you bothering about what could be the value.
No, that's right. But the action that created the wealth was actually doing something and building the hospital and creating the jobs.
Beyond doubt. Right. There is a securitizable asset.
Right.
So if the world over, there are assets which can be securitized. These roads can be securitized. The companies can be securitized. The issue is like in US, now USSR, there is no securitization. The whole economy is one of the largest economy in the world. There is no securitization. That machine is gone, shut.
Yeah, but all of that is a tool for creating the wealth, right?
Gentlemen, if I can...
it's not the wealth itself.
Yeah, so
I have 3 pages worth of questions. If I can...
Please, yeah.
get this, it's a fascinating discussion. And I think, Mr. Matani, you make a valid point. And maybe we, towards the end of it, come back to it. Okay, now we kind of talked about how all of you found your first compounders and what was the common thread. In that sense. Now let's talk about mistakes, missed opportunities and what did not work, which I think is also equally sort of important. Raamdeo, is there a stock you regret not buying or holding longer, where hindsight sort of, taught you more about conviction?
Yeah, so one of the, with a lot of conviction, I bought HDFC Bank in 95. I think it came out with public issue in 95. It got listed at $40, 200 crores the equity. So it was available for less than 1,000 crores. And it was so liquid, you could buy any number of shares in a minute. So I bought about 5-6 lakh shares. And I had a great dream that the next HSBC, see, I had gone to Hong Kong and seen the HSBC building. So I said, our HSBC is going to be HDFC Bank. So that was my thought process. And I read the book, Value Migration. So I was very clear that value is going to migrate from PSU banks to private sector bank, and these guys are the most credible guys. So all kinds of things I had thought through, bought it, in fact applied in IPO. I never applied in IPO. Here I had applied. So I bought at $40, and at about 52, 53, I got a inside information, or classified information, not inside, but some right information I got, that NetWest, which was the partner of HDFC Bank, is breaking up. I said, these guys, they don't know banking. And if we love so much multinational, if they are going back, then I think the whole damn thing will come down. I sold it. I sold it 52.5. I think in lifetime it has never come below 52.5.